Hi, this is Doug Devitre, host of the CoTrackPro Podcast. Today, I have a very special guest. She's found a very unique niche for herself in helping people go through a divorce. Alyssa Panitz, welcome to the show today.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
So I love your title, right? In the sense that you help people kind of go through divorce and cope with it, but you call yourself a divorce journalist. Tell me what that's like and what your journey's been.
So, my background is being a journalist. I've been doing it for probably 3 decades, but on the celebrity side. But in 2018, after I filed for a divorce and had no clue where to get information, how to find information, separate fact from fiction, because everybody looks great on screen, I turned to my industry. Because in my industry, most people who work in it are assigned what's called a beat. It's just an industry term for a subject. And I noticed nobody was covering divorce. And when I looked at the statistics and I saw up to 50% of all first marriages will end in a divorce, I kind of went like, oh my God, how did everybody overlook this beat or at least not create it? So when the pandemic happened and everybody was reinventing themselves because we were all working from home, some of us without jobs, I started a column and the column grew and I've been growing it ever since.
Yeah, no, that's interesting because a lot of people it's a very sensitive topic to
Yeah.
them, right? There's a lot of conflict that happens, and people can start to make assumptions as far as what happens, not just personally, but professionally. Tell me kind of how you've helped people kind of understand the process a little bit, and like you said, empower them so they can lead better lives.
So, as a journalist, I'm taught to write very conversationally. Like you and I are out for coffee or out for a drink. And when you take the subject of divorce, that in itself is so complex. And most of the time when people are going through it, they're being told a lot of different things and it's going right over their head. Nobody understands the legal terms. People who haven't been following and keeping up with their finances, maybe because the other side was doing it, don't understand all these terms. People don't understand all the different things and responsibilities they have. I come at it in a very conversational way to explain it to people in a way where you kind of have to like pat them on the back and be like, it's going to be okay. And when we kind of get that and sort of take out the perception of divorce, when we take out the scariness of divorce, we can kind of then go in and explain it in a way that everybody can understand. And when you're going through a divorce, you're in a state of inertia. You cannot comprehend anything. Your brain is just like mishmash because so much is changing. The foundation you and your spouse created has now crumbled. You're scared. You don't know where you may be going. If you're losing the marital house, you may say to yourself, what's going to happen next? I have kids, there's school, there's so many different things. And we take it down and I break it down one by one to help you make the right decisions. We do this all through expert interviews with vetted experts who work in this space. So anybody who I talk to, I can assure you, we checked out.
No, that's really great. And can you tell me some of the different professionals that you have as part of your program?
Yeah, so we have lawyers, we have accountants, we have CDFAs, which stands for Certified Divorce Financial Analyst. We have parent coordinators, we have mediators, we have collaborative lawyers, we have litigators. Litigators are like the sharks that you hear about. We have therapists. We've had former judges. We have books, authors, life coaches, divorce coaches. I'm trying to think. We've had fitness people. We've had celebrities who have told their stories. Really, I mean, it just kind of like runs the gamut. The only two subjects we do not cover on our program are politics and religion. And anybody who comes on our program who may have had a personal experience with divorce, and a lot of professionals do, that's why they get in it. You cannot bash anybody. You are here to help people get through a very difficult time. And if you are an expert, we want you to really like stand up there and be like the teacher who's the head of the classroom, educate people what they need to know as they navigate through this journey.
Yeah, no, I love that. And that's kind of what we've done with the CoTrack Pro as a platform to be able to get different subject matter experts involved. When you get these individuals together, maybe since you've interviewed them individually, has there been a consistent theme with them as far as what outcomes they expect?
In terms of they want to look for new clients, is that what you mean?
Sure. Well, I mean, it's such a complicated process. There's a lot of people involved. Many have their own self-enlightened interests,
Hmm.
right? That they're trying to achieve. And I'm just wondering, is it to give parents a better peace of mind? They be doing this for the kids? What would you say is the been the most consistent theme you've seen?
I think it kind of is. I think it runs the gamut. I think people do it because one, they would like to be on a very large stage. So the columns people can read anywhere in the world. I write for a lot of different publications. Our radio show, which is now 4 years old, we are not only syndicated, but we're live streamed all over the world, as well as our TV show. So our reach and our stage is worldwide. So for people who are on our stage, after again, we've checked them out, yes, they would love to find new clients. Yes, they would love to share their knowledge because they want to be interviewed in other media outlets. People are saying, "Hey, I saw so and so on your show," or "I heard somebody on this past episode of the weekend radio show. I actually need an expert in that area for a case we're working on. Can you make an introduction?" People are getting speaking engagements. Some of these people have books and podcasts. They're getting sales. They're getting downloads to their programs. It really runs the gamut.
Yeah, no, that's great. And one of the things that I really found interesting is this streaming TV series
Yes.
that you've put together. It's called Ways Through Divorce as a
Mm-hmm.
streaming TV series. Tell us about that.
Yes. So it's called Ways Through Divorce. And our logo, if you've noticed it, we have arrows going different ways because that's a divorce. A divorce is not a straight shoot from A to B. I mean, it just kind of goes all over the place, and we get it. And so that was the whole purpose of how we created this. It's on what's called Your Home TV. Your Home TV is probably about, I think, 3 years old right now. Anybody can get it. It's free download. Every program is, I would say, about 20 minutes in length. And in that time, we interview experts on an array of different topics. The benefits of traveling during a divorce, why you may need a parent coordinator on
Mhm.
your team during a divorce, how to get through a high conflict divorce and limit court costs as well as lawyer costs. We interviewed a divorce coach who worked primarily with men to get into the mindset of a guy. People think, guys don't care. They just brush it off. No, they go through it too. And what was interesting is that we found a lot of guys don't reach out for help. And that is a huge mistake because when it comes to the suicide rates in a divorce, men have been shown through research to be, I think it was about 9% higher than women. And that is very upsetting for somebody like me to read because I need those guys to be dads to their kids, regardless of how old kids are. Kids always need both parents. So we want to show people there's free resources out there because we get it. Going through divorce is expensive. You got to watch your pennies a lot more, especially in this economy. And we want to show people that we have lots of different ways to get you tons of information, and you don't have to worry about price because we are very mindful when we are putting all these episodes together. Also, how to meet new friends, how to date again, how to blend families, sex after divorce. Some people have been with their spouse for 20, 30 years. Now they're going back out there, and people are feeling very self conscious about that. So, like I said, everything is fair game except religion and politics.
I really like that. And I think that anybody who goes through this process, like you said, can feel really isolated,
Yeah.
right? And making new friends and developing a new support system that maybe it got taken away from you, through that process. What are some of the things that you found to help people kind of regain their identity again?
Yeah, one thing I try to tell people all the time is first date yourself. What does that mean? It means maybe when the kids are out, maybe when the kids are with the other parent, Do things that would make you feel happy. Like if you had to plan the ideal date night that only revolved around you, what would it entail? It could be binge watching your favorite show. It could be taking yourself out to a nice dinner, to a movie, enrolling in an exercise class, or joining a walking group. I don't know, whatever everybody likes, but do things that make you feel good, that make you feel special. It's really important because when you're spending that time with yourself, you can really take a step back and think about the things you need and you want as you proceed forward. So you make the right decisions and the right choices when you start meeting potential partners and love interests.
Yeah, that's really great. I mean, you have to take care of yourself first.
Yeah.
You have to give yourself in a positive mindset. So you're approachable to others, so other people want to be around you and not necessarily be, play the victim, right? Which I'm sure can happen. It's for some people.
Well, you have to heal. Nobody wants to be on a date and hear only about your ex. My ex was this. Oh my God, let me tell you about when my ex did this. Yeah, I can remember that. My ex totally, no, nobody wants to hear that. What they want to hear is they want to hear about you. They want to hear things like, I just read this great book. I don't know if you've had a chance to pick it up or if you've heard about it, but it's great. Did you catch that game last night between the Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles? Wow, what a win. I enrolled in this great pickleball group. If you're interested, you should come join. You sound so much more interesting, and people want that. You want to be a magnet for people, not a deterrent.
Yeah, pickleball has definitely become the sport to meet people, right?
Oh, I love it. Come play with me tomorrow morning, 7:30.
I became a coach. I became a certified pickleball coach, and I coached my son, and we had a lot of fun when I homeschooled him for a year. That
Oh,
was a
wow.
that was a blast, and I've met a lot of people all over the U.S. from that. So pickleball is definitely near and dear. Back to the complexity of the legalities, right? Because you have once, let's say, you file for divorce, right? Then a number of things start to happen. There are dates that are set. There are specific processes that need to be followed. And if you don't follow the process, right, you could really end up in a bind.
Yeah.
Tell me something about the educational resources that you've maybe interviewed with or that
Mhm.
you found most helpful for people who are handling this situation.
Well, the first thing I say is try not to do it yourself, especially nowadays when it comes to court. A lot of the courts, when it comes time to filing the paperwork, is all on e-file systems. And by checking the wrong box, you can have a huge setback because you didn't check the right box, it got kicked back. You didn't check this box, and now they have to reschedule your court date, or it's inadmissible, which means they're not accepting the stuff that you submitted. And every time you file stuff with the court, there's a cost. So again, you want to be very careful because $20 here, 45 here, when you have to do it over and over, adds up. So I always tell people, like, try to work with somebody who is familiar with the process. If you can't afford a big fancy lawyer, there are a lot of lawyers who've gone off on their own. You can even work with mediators if this is something you and your spouse want to do. A mediator is a third party neutral that helps you find a resolution to all the matters that are right now on the table. You both have to agree to the same person, but a lot of times, even the mediator can take a lot of this stuff off your plate. Or what they can do is they can introduce you to what's called a review lawyer. And a review lawyer will look over all the paperwork, because a mediator cannot give you or the other side any legal advice. And they can do this. And it's a lot more cost efficient. And that way, slip ups. And you have to be very organized, because if you are going to be in court, if you are in what's called the litigated manner, yes, there are set dates that the court will give to you and give to your attorneys. Like, we're going to be here on this date. This is when the paperwork, and this is the paperwork we want, and all the exhibits and all the proof. This is when it has to be filed. A divorce can feel like a job that is 25 hours a day, 8 days a week. And you don't want it to consume your life that way, because you have a job, you have kids, you want to rebuild your life. I strongly suggest people work with therapists, because you will need it. A lot of people are getting divorce coaches also to help them stay organized, because there's a lot of stuff that's coming at you. And it's easy for something to fall through the cracks. And you don't want any of that. You want to keep this moving forward as quickly as possible so both of you can get on with your lives. And most importantly, and it's something we say every week on our show, save money and not cost you your life savings.
Oh my gosh. Especially if it's a high conflict
Yeah.
divorce, right? And you could spend several thousands of dollars, and I think
Millions.
or maybe even millions. Um, it just seems like such a devastation to your finances, devastation to your life. And I think I read somewhere where the American Bar Association, 65% of people are now going pro se because they can't afford an attorney.
Yes.
What's been your experience in talking with folks on both sides, right? Who are trying to either go pro se or maybe who don't have the necessary funds to hire someone to represent them?
So I had at one point after my divorce was final, go back. I went pro se at one point, and it was for small stuff. A lot of people do it, especially in family court. But again, I strongly urge people to make sure you have somebody in the background who can kind of walk you through stuff, because you really want to understand everything that is going to happen in that situation. And yes, the way that things are going in this economy, people are losing their jobs, inflation, we see it every day on the news. People can't afford an attorney. Here in New York, where I am based, some retainers for an attorney, okay, can run people, I would say, $25,000, and that's just a retainer. And here's another thing people don't realize. They hear, okay, that's a pretty hefty retainer. Well, let me tell you how quickly that retainer goes. Okay. And these are things that the lawyers don't tell you. You're meeting with the partner. Okay. Betty Smith. Okay. That's the partner. Betty will say, here are my rates. Here's the retainer, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of times what Betty may not tell you is we're going to keep dipping into that retainer when I have to like hand stuff off to my paralegal or an associate or my assistant. Up, we got to file court fees. Up, we got to get this FedEx out. Wait, we had emails with the other side. We have conference calls with the other side. We had to do this. We had to do this. We were in court. We figured we would just go in there for you to try to do this. How quickly that retainer goes. And so at the end of every month, when you're supposed to get a breakdown of how the money was used, people are shocked how quickly things added up. And nobody told them, wait, everybody on that staff gets a piece of this pie. It's not just you, the partner that I hired. No. And these are things people don't tell potential clients or new clients. And then people are shocked when they find out they have to keep ponying up more money, keep ponying up more money. People also have the mindset, I'm taking them to court. Okay, but one day in court can cost you over $10,000. Why? Because the attorney and the staff I just told you about has to prepare for court. Do you know how long it takes to prepare for court and get, if there's documents they need to show for proof? Do you know how long it takes to get all those? Some of those documents may need to be certified. Do you understand? There's another step to the certification. All the paperwork that gets filed to go to court. And let's just say your court date was 10 a.m. But the judge is running late. We're not going to get to you till 12:30. Oh, wait, after lunch. No, make that 2:30. You're still paying for everybody's time to sit around and do nothing. And then all the time in court. So boom, there you go. I mean, that can cost you over $10,000 in one day. And most people have to take the day off from work. And for some people, they may lose pay. They may have to use a PTO day, a sick day. I mean, people don't realize the expense of what it is to go to court, which is why we really urge people to stay out of it and to look for other methods to resolve all the issues they're having with the other side.
Gosh, it makes you reconsider even getting married, right? Or even getting remarried because of the possible repercussions. And you said it could
Which
just
is why you need a prenup.
there you go.
The big topic we're talking about on our upcoming show, because of a celebrity divorce that we have been following. And the reason the ex-husband, now ex-husband, made out like a bandit was because wife, who was worth like 5 times as much as he was, if not more, didn't make the guy sign a prenup. And so in the state they were in, guess what? Ka-ching. Yes, he's getting what he's getting.
Well, it's a shocking, right? And many people have said that the system is broken and that
Yeah.
we need judicial reform. And you've become an advocate in some of these areas. What would you say are some of the policies you think that need to be adjusted so that people can get their lives back much quicker, right? And it doesn't harm them so much and their kids.
I think if I had a magic wand and I can redo the system, it would be to make people accountable. A lot of times people sign these divorce settlement agreements and then one side violates it. And then you have to go back, sometimes rehire your lawyer, go pro se, file all that paperwork again with the court, again, money. And courts a lot of times don't make decisions right away. They give people a few chances. And doing that, guess what? Costs more money and more money. And what's the other side supposed to do? My thing is, here was the agreement. Here's what was signed. You don't follow it. Guess what? You get 30 days to follow it, or I'm putting you in jail, or I'm taking your passport. I'm taking the license. If you're going to paralyze side A, I will paralyze you side B. And I think if people were held accountable, you wouldn't have so many problems. The courts would not be so backlogged with cases. Some people have these emergency motions where they need to get in and they cannot get into court. Why? Because there's so much else on the judge's docket. So that would be the first thing I would do. The other thing is I try to tell people is you got to outweigh the pros and the cons. And it all comes down to money. And I'll say, listen, I get it. You want to take, your ex back, but given the amount of money he owes you, I'm making up a number, $5,000. I said, he owes you $5,000. But if you rehire the lawyer and the lawyer has to do all this other stuff, that's going to cost you a lot more. You're now in the red. Is it really worth it going after him? How about if side A owes you $5,000, call it a day and say, look, okay, I don't want to fight with you. Let's not bring the lawyers back. Just give me 2,500. We'll call it a day. I know it's a lot because you're like, but wait, they owe me this. But you're really saving a lot of money not going back to court. And not only when do you save money not going to court, but the stress and the anxiety that it causes people. I mean, I've seen people get physically sick, mentally and emotionally sick. It's not worth it. And not only that, but when you have the kids around and the kids are like, I need this. What are you going to do? You're going to snap because you're so stressed out. You're so freaked out and you don't need that. Live your best life. I always say to people, you want revenge on your ex? Go be happy. They can't stand it. Go be happy. Find the things that bring you joy. So we talked about pickleball before, or joining a book club, starting a book club, going to play mahjong, going into a running club. On the days that your ex has the kids, reconnecting with friends, family, taking yourself maybe to a wine tasting. There's always good single people there. Get on Facebook, get on Instagram. They have so many great events that they advertise in your area. You just gotta, join some local groups where you can find out about it. Take yourself. You never know who you may find. You may start developing a great circle of friends or meeting somebody terrific.
Yeah, no, that's really good advice for anybody who's trying to get their head back on straight,
Yeah.
right? And live their best life. There's a lot of technology that's changed the way that people communicate, the way that people meet. How do you see the role of technology playing in the future for this process, right? And how people could best use them based upon what you've discussed with others.
You mean technology with divorce or technology with dating?
Well, let's start with the divorce because I think that's kind of the underpinning the root of where a lot of these issues can be resolved.
So, in terms of technology and divorce, use it professionally. Why do I say that? Because people use technology to go bash their ex on social media, and that works against them. It can hurt you in terms of a settlement. It can also hurt you in terms sometimes with the kids because they're like, look at her. She's not in a great state of mind. Look at how she talks about me. The kids should not be with her. It really can hurt you during the divorce process. So personal comments, anything about your personal life, leave it off. Go talk to your friends, like have a night out. Technology is not your friend that way. In terms of the divorce process, a lot of the courts now are doing a lot of their conferences online. So it saves people the wear and tear of having to go to court. But again, if you do need to file a lot of the paperwork, because courts do use a lot of these e-file systems, they do here in New York, have somebody who understands the system or go down to the court and see. A lot of them have these libraries there. And so in Westchester County, what they have is, I think it's on the 9th floor in White Plains, there is a library there. And they have people there, both virtual and in person, who will help you not only fill out the paperwork, but they will walk you through step by step how to file it. It's of no cost. All you got to pay is for the parking, which I think is like $1 an hour kind of thing. It's invaluable. Call your local courthouse where you are, see if they have a library, and see if they have people there who can help you. A lot of times they do, because as you said earlier, a lot of people cannot afford lawyers. They go pro se. You can also see if there's like a legal aid society. Sometimes if you qualify, a lot of law firms have to take a certain amount of cases pro bono. You do have to meet certain qualifications. So again, it all varies. So you should check that out as well. Also, even call some of the local universities that have law schools. Maybe they have somebody that can help walk you through. A lot of times, a lot of lawyers will host events. Find out where they are. You may just, I went to one once and it was invaluable, some of the tips that they gave me when I was there. So there's a lot of great free resources out there. You just have to know how to find them.
Mm. No, that's really great. And I wish I had some of this stuff before I went through. And if you personally were going to rewind, right, to your younger self and you were going to say, self, you know, this is what should do or what you would do differently. Tell me,
Oh,
you would have done differently. And I know this is a whole nother episode in itself, right?
everything. I would have done everything different. I knew nothing. So the ongoing joke I tell everybody is, I've been this entertainment correspondent for a lot of decades. And I said, and if there was one movie that you should have put me in, I said, at the beginning of my divorce, it was Clueless, because I really was. I was clueless. Um, and I just didn't know. I was just so overcome with emotion. When I filed for a divorce, I just went to this one person I knew who had a spouse that was an attorney, but they were the wrong attorney for me. There were so many other mistakes I made. I didn't realize why understanding your money was so important. I just thought, oh, they want the money. No, you have to understand the money, because depending on what state you're in, whether you live in a community property state or an equitable distribution state, it's all going to boil down to, what do you have? What do you owe? Was anything separate? Do you have homes? Do you have this? Is there debt? What's the house like? That they're going to ask you 100 million questions. What do you spend every month for your lifestyle? Do you have kids? What are the costs there? And you're just like, why do you care? Well, we do care, because that goes into how they reach a settlement and how they get you what you are legally entitled to, and how what the other side is going to be legally entitled to. It goes into things such as child support, spousal support. Now, yes, this is all calculated depending on where you live, but you have to tell them exactly, step by step, penny by penny, how you live your life. I didn't know. I didn't know. I let the other side handle it, kind of thing, because that's what they did for a living. I was running a magazine, taking care of kids and running a household and this and that, and thought it was a partnership. And then when it comes down to it, it's like, wait, what? And I think during when I was being asked all those questions, I think the only words that came out of my mouth were, I don't know. And that is the worst, most horrible, most vulnerable feeling. If only I knew now what I should have known then, it would have been so different. And how I picked my team, and how I picked my attorney, in terms of building a team, having a financial person there, a divorce coach, a therapist, like really having the right people in place to help me navigate. I just thought it was all about the attorney.
That's so good. That's really good. This is gonna be one people gonna have to re-listen to again and again. I know for sure. Is there a website? I appreciate you being a part of this podcast. Is there a
Oh,
website
thank you.
or a couple of websites that I can direct people to so they can learn a little bit more about your podcast? Uh,
Hmm.
maybe it's another episode of the TV streaming series.
Yeah.
Some links so I can put in the show notes too for people to check out.
Absolutely. So for the radio show is called The Divorce Hour with Alyssa Panitz. We are every Saturday and Sunday on CRN Digital Talk Radio Network. We also turn that show into a podcast. We're on 14 plus platforms, including Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, Listen Notes. I'm trying to remember all of them. Apple, I think, is another one. Ways Through Divorce is on Your Home TV. So if you head right over to their website, I think we're under the category of lifestyle, maybe. I don't know. You have to check that out. Also, they can head over to my website, alyssapanitz.com. We take you everywhere that you want to go just with a click of a mouse. I have tons of articles up there. Like I said, we tackle anything and everything you can possibly think of. We have experts. A lot of time we hyperlink back to those experts. So if this is somebody that can help you navigate through your divorce, again, remember, we have checked them out and they are vetted. And if we stand behind them, we strongly say you can also. And people can always reach out to me.
Well, thank you so much for being a part of this. I know I'm going to check out
Oh, thank
things
you.
that you have. And it's like you can't do this by yourself. It takes a village. And
Yes.
I'm so glad that you're a part of ours now.
Oh, I'm so honored. Thank you.